This is a original webinar hosted by Noba Africa. And today, on a journey through the intricacies of agricultural prosperity, exploring the vast landscape of commodity trading, origination, art-grower management, and the art of getting it right. So today, we will be discussing on some topics, which the first one is the overview of commodity trading, which is CTFs. So to set the stage, we have the privilege of hearing from Abdulrazak Najim, which is the founder of this company, Noba Africa, who will provide us with a comprehensive overview of commodity trading firms. So get ready to dive into the dynamics that drive these firms and the pivotal role they play in the agricultural system. So the next topics we'll be discussing tonight is the origination. So our journey then takes us into the realm of origination, skillful navigated by this same Abdulrazak Najim, which is the founder. So discover the significance of origination in agricultural process and how it lays the foundation for sustainable and impactful ventures. And the next one we'll be discussing is the concepts of art-grower management. This section is very, very important. The concept of art-grower management. So we have the esteemed Saidu Ibrahim shedding light on the concept of art-grower management, uncover the intricacies of managing art-growers, a key element in fostering community engaging and ensuring the success of agricultural ventures. So then we move to the next, which is getting it right. So a guide by a professor, Paul Massat. As we approach the culmination of our webinar, Paul Massat will guide us through the critical steps of getting it right, gain insights into the best practice, challenges, and strategies that contribute to the success of agricultural ventures. So the exploration begins. Our lineup promises a wealth of knowledge, experiences, and insights that will fuel your understanding of the agricultural landscape. Engaged, questions, and absorb as we collectively embark on this journey of agricultural enlightenment. So I'll leave the floor to the founder, Abdulrazak Najim, to please take us on the overview of commodity trading. And as we promise you guys, we won't spend much time. So like 10 minutes, we'll be treating each section so that we can all go and have our sleep. So thank you. So I welcome you, Mr. Abdulrazak Najim, the founder of this great company, Noba Africa. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mbogo. I really appreciate your introduction. Yes, I am Abdulrazak Najim. I work with Noba Africa. And pleasure to have people join this webinar. This is not the first webinar we have, and this is the first virtual event we are having. If you want to see our previous events, you can always go to our YouTube channel, Noba Africa.
Sorry, sir, we hardly hear you. We hardly hear you, sir.
Okay, am I audible now? Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, also. Proceed.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, this is not the first webinar we are having. If you have missed out on the first webinar, which really explore into the opportunity available in the agri space, you can always visit our YouTube channel, which is Noba Africa. You can also check our other handles, LinkedIn, Facebook, and the likes. I'm sure you are going to find content that are going to improve your knowledge in agri. Okay, having said that, we want to shed some bit of light on outgrower management, which we find to be a very concerning topic in the industry. Yes, it's obvious that if we can get our grower management right, we can really make some very serious progress in the agri space. But there have been challenges, and we are very sure that if there is more. Hello.
Yeah, well, with you, sir.
Okay. And we are very sure that if people keep on sharing awareness and studying this particular model, there's going to be progress in the industry. But before we do that, where is our growth coming from and where is it going from? So in looking at that, we feel it's going to be incomplete if we don't take a comprehensive look at it. So that's why we are trying to look at, okay, let's have a comprehensive understanding of how how things work. So we are starting with CTF, commodity trading firm. Okay, what are commodity trading firms? First of all, what are commodities? Commodities are staples that we make our food from. They are the good, they are the raw material that industry use to process whatever they are processing. And these are also the energy used in making, these are the fuels used in making energy. So that's just a crude overview of it. We can look at commodity as the basic building block for any country that is getting towards civilization. Because anything you are using, whatever you are using, be it a vehicle, be it food, be it energy, it stems out of commodity. So, a commodity trading company, these are companies that supply processing companies with this basic raw material. So, this basic raw material could be raw food, it could be minerals, and it could be energy products. So that's the basic work of a commodity trading firm. And a commodity trading firm it does three major things. It transforms in space, it transforms commodity in time, it also transforms commodity in form. So I just want us to really understand what a commodity trading firm does. So a commodity trading firm transforms commodities, whether agricultural commodities, whether minerals, whether energy commodities. It transforms them in space. That's the logistics part of the commodity trading firm. It moves them from one location to the other because we all know that um, mostly where raw materials are produced are not where they are processed and they are not where they are consumed. So the work of the commodity trading firm to transport or to handle those raw materials from where they are produced to where they are processed and probably consumed. So a commodity trading firm does three basic things. It transforms commodities in space, it transforms commodities in time, and it transforms commodities in form itself. So for us to also understand a commodity trading firm, a commodity trading firm is different from a commodity exchange and it's different from a commodity brokerage. What a commodity brokerage does is it links producers to processors. It only links. That's what a commodity brokerage firm does. What a commodity exchange does is it creates awareness on where these commodities are and the prices, the fair prices at which these commodities can be bought. But a commodity trading firm does three major things. It transforms in space, in time, and in form. So now, if we have really understand what a commodity trading firm does, we will understand that it is something that it is the raw material that it transforms, whether in space, in time, or in form. So how does it get this raw material is what leads us to origination. So a commodity trading firm can get its raw material in two forms. Am I audible?
You are very audible, sir.
Okay. So
we can hear you.
okay, great. It sources its raw material in two ways, either directly or indirectly. So this directly has its own broader category, and indirectly also has its own broader category, because you have to keep in mind that when we are talking about commodity trading firms, it's not just agri produce. We also have oils, we have mineral. So it's not just farm. We are talking about mines, we are talking about ores, we are talking about the different sources of raw material. So basically, it's either it has its own sourcing platform, or it's sourced indirectly through partnership. So now, bringing it to agriculture, which I know that's what most of us are interested in. A commodity trading firm can decide to say, okay, I want to have my own farm and start to farm, like what Olam is doing in Nasarawa. And I think, is it in Australia, where they are also farming onions? They have their own farm, they produce, then they transform. That's one way of doing it. But I can assure you, most commodity trading firms don't do that, because most of that kind of strategy always fail. Mostly when commodity trading firms go to farm directly, they don't really achieve the best result. And we have seen it with Cargill. Cargill, in about a century ago, they tried starting their own farm. It was a big failure, and a couple of firms like that. So that's why they cannot, or they are not really willing to produce directly. They rather do a model farm, but not to produce everything they want to process. They rely heavily on partnering with farmers when we are talking about agriculture. So, and in partnering with farmers, or in partnering with other bodies, it could be an outgrower system, it could be an in-grower system. But for them to achieve scale, they always prefer going with outgrower programs. So what outgrower program does for them is, they are not only getting the raw material that they finance, they are also creating awareness in that community. So if they support 10 farmers, they are likely going to get raw material from 100 farmers in that locality, and that's what is called origination. Origination is sourcing from the farm, not them farming. They are sourcing from the farm by leveraging on relationship. And the way they create this relationship is by providing some sort of benefit for the farmers, by providing finances, by providing training, by providing technical support, by providing ready markets for these farmers. So they also use this same origination strategy to also decide the kind of raw material or the kind of crop they want that locality to farm. For example, TGI can go into a community and say, okay, for this community, we only want to support maize farmers. What they are trying to do is that they need so volume of maize. So they are pushing that agenda to the farmer, directly or indirectly. So when farmers know that, okay, if you want to farm maize, there's some incentive for you, there is going to be a high rate of conversion of farmers from whatever they are producing into that particular crop. So that is where origination comes from. Origination comes from sourcing from the farm. And that's what most commodity trading firm does. That's what Cargill does. That's what ADM does. That's what Olam does. That's what TGI does. That's what FMN does. So at this point, I think I would like to give my boss, Saidu Ibrahim, the floor to now speak on how this outgrower management works. This outgrower program, how does it work? The processes, the procedures. So, Mr. Saidu Ibrahim, thanks for giving us your time. Mr. Paul, we really appreciate you that you make out time from your busy schedule also. And you know that this is not a very convenient time for anybody. So I also appreciate everybody that is joining this call. So, Mr. Saidu, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Najim. Hello, can anyone hear me, please?
Yeah, you're audible. We can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Clear.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Very audible. We can hear you.
We can hear you, sir.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you,
Can
sir.
anyone hear me, please?
We can
Yes, we
hear
can
you
hear you,
loud
sir.
Yes,
and
sir, we can
clear.
hear you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much, Najim, and then thank you everyone for joining, and then thank you for this privilege to also share the little we know on this platform. Without much wasting of time, I'm talking about the topic, the concept. Hello, I might just the concept of outgrower management. First of all, from our little research, we all know that the outgrower program actually started from the 1940s, and then that was when the British cotton outgrower was into play. And then along the way, it fizzled out, and then the tobacco industry also took it and then it kind of solidified it better. Now, when the British cotton outgrowers were there, there's something they call a plug. A plug is more like the collection points that we all know now, or the warehouses we rent around to keep those products. But just like Najim rightly mentioned, any organization that need a commodity must definitely source for that commodity. So the outgrower theme came up in such a way that, okay, an organization will look at their needs, and when they get to know their needs, the next thing they do is to, look for a particular group of people that can actually help out in, providing them with that particular need. For instance, the same thing that happened during the tobacco industry. They needed those commodities, and then somehow they were able to look for outgrowers that will go ahead and plant those commodities so that they can have the raw materials for their production at the end of the day. Now, having said that, the FAO, that's the Food and Agricultural Organization, actually defined outgrower as a contractual partnership between growers and landholders or a company. Now, you need people who actually have the land, and then you need a company that actually need the commodity in question, and then you also need a market for that. So for the outgrower, the company that actually comes with the market, and then you have the outgrower. But there are things to also put into consideration when going into this outgrower program. First of all, having identified a location where these are the people that can actually do what you want. For instance, let's just pick a particular crop. Let's say, for instance, soybean or wheat or maize, rice. And then you look for a particular location, and then you know that, okay, these people are actually into that production. Then you fit into that community. When you get to that community, there are certain things you will need to do in, putting all those processes together. Having identified the community, the first thing you need to do is you screen. When you get to the community and you know that they can actually do this, and you screen. You don't just go in and then say, oh, okay, this guys actually produce this particular product that I need. Since this is the raw material I need, you just dive in and you start working with them. No, you have to screen. And part of the screening, some of the things you need to do is you have to look at, one, the land availability. You look at the farming experience in that community. You look at their financial stability and their willingness to comply to the program requirements. Yes, you're actually coming in with a new program. Are they new to this farming concept that you want to bring? Are they producing the kind of crop you want? Yes, if they are producing the kind of crops you want, are they financially stable to venture into them? Are they willing to do that? When we mean financially venture, some farmers So farmers will want to go into that, but if you give them even half a hectare, they cannot manage it. And another thing you need to do is training and capacity building. Now, having screened the farmers, and then you know their level of intellect, and then their level of production, you might find farmers who are just producing 10 bags on a hectare, and then that's what they are comfortable with. And here you are telling them they can do better. So you will have to train those farmers, because you are definitely coming in with new technologies far different from what they used to know. And when you come into those communities, the only way you can, have them pick up and adopt those new ideas you're bringing to them, it's by training them. And then when you train them, it tells you the necessary skills they will be needing and the knowledge they will need. That's the new technology that you've actually came into that location with. You came in, maybe they don't have an idea of how to make use of tractors on their fields. And then here you are as an expert, you're coming in to work with them. And then you want to promote the use of tractors. So you will definitely have to train them on how to make use of those tractors, and then tell them the advantages of, using those tractors. Then you also have to consider contracting. Then the contract has to be very, very clear. Are you giving them the inputs for free? Are you giving them the input on terms and conditions? What are the terms and conditions? What are the qualities of the inputs you're giving them? How do you intend giving them the input? What quantity are you giving them? At what time are you giving them? Now, this will also have to be part of the contract. And then having done that, you also look at monitoring and evaluation. Now, having given them all this, how do you intend to monitor and then evaluate the activities going on in the field? Do you intend allowing them to themselves? Are you going to have them in clusters? Are you going to have lead farmers? Are you going to have master farmers or lead farmers that will work with them to coordinate them? If you want to reach them, and probably in locations where there are no phones, how do you intend to get those farmers together to pass a message? So you see, at this point, a group farming system is better, looking at the lead farmer who will now be able to put together his farmers for you to be able to pass a particular message to. Communication farmers in those locations. Let the farmers know you better. Let them understand what you want. Let them also understand how you want them to go about doing the things you need to do. Not where you just come around, give out input to the farmers, and then you vanish. In no time, you come back again, and then you expect them to do what you need them to do. It doesn't work that way. There must have to be a handy relationship. It's a marriage between you and them till the very end, which is the harvest period of time. Then why you do that. You can also, there's a need on how to identify poor outgrowers. Now, some of the ways, the reason why you're doing that is to save yourself a whole lot of stress at harvest. Because when you inculcate a whole lot of poor outgrowers into the program, it's going to be a lot of challenge. Now, one of the major challenges is the fact that at the end of the day, the quantity of the raw material that is needed by that company will not be, obtained. Why? Because you have a lot of poor outgrowers. And then some of the ways you can actually use in doing that is the performance metrics. So what are the performance metrics? When you're talking to them, you get to see someone who is comfortable with just producing maybe 10 bags, 5 bags on a hectare, and he's not ready to shift line. He's not ready to even learn new technology that will help him boost his production metrics. And that's talking about yield. And then if the yields are affected, at the end of the day, the quantity of the raw material needed by that company or by that organization or individual will definitely not be reached. And then the organization or the company, again, will also have a lot of issues because the demands on ground is not, proportional to the quantity of the, raw material you're receiving. Then the financial, you also need to check the financial indicators, such like you evaluate the, financial strength of the farmers. Like I said initially, It's not a charity stuff. You're now giving the farmer, it's not like you're going to give the farmer the land. You're not giving him the money for land preparation. You're not giving him money for planting and the labor all through to harvest. There are certain commitment the farmer needs to do himself. And then if you don't know and then check the financial strength of that farmer, then you commit those activities to him, he might end up, messing up at the end of the day or not getting a good yield. Farmer whose strength is just to cultivate a half hectare cannot cultivate 1 hectare. So on the other part, you don't have to also force a farmer that can just do half a hectare to, do 1 hectare, because he doesn't have the financial strength and stability to, to be able to fund that activity. Communication and engagement. Now, you could see some poor outgrowers will have issues on their fields and they will not voice out. Now, when you send messages, they will not respond to messages. When you call them, they will tell you everything is fine while everything is not fine. You will see that when you call group training, you will see them, they hardly attend trainings. Now, this already is a sign of, a bad outgrower. You can do well to set that farmer aside. Another thing is farm visit and assessment. An outgrower is supposed to actually visit his farm because that's his office, always to ensure that the farm is doing well. Should there be issues on the farm where his field supervisor is not able to catch up, he can actually call the field supervisor, and then report situations so that they can help him manage the situation and guide him on how to go about it. Things to look at are signs of, poor growth. Are there stunted growth in the plants? Are there change in coloration of the plants? What's the growth of the stem of the plant, depending on the crop you're talking about? What's the health of those crops? These are things he should look at. But farmers poor outgrowers don't pay attention to things like this. Then feedbacks and complaints. Now, good outgrowers will always tell you, this is a situation on my field. And then when you give them feedback, they will pick the feedback and then work on them. But poor outgrowers will not do that because for them, they feel there's no need doing that. And then if you are able to pay attention to this kind of things on the field, you will definitely know who a good outgrower is and a poor outgrower, and then you can be able to set them aside. Don't forget, whoever is working with them is bringing in inputs at very expensive inputs, and at the end of the day, you're also expecting returns. And then some poor outgrowers also believe more in side selling. This also has a way of affecting the volume, because trading without volume is also a very big challenge. So for you to venture into that and to support them, it means you really need a whole lot of grains from them. And then this can actually lead to defaults. So when it leads to defaults, what are the things you need to do to ensure that you manage default well? If there are defaults, how can you recover your defaults? Because you remember the amount of defaults out there implies the kind of money the organization is also going to waste, is also going to lose out there. So one of the concepts of outgrower is how to go about managing the defaults. So how can one recover defaults when it happens? First of all, you need to identify the borrower. Who are the borrowers? Who are the people you gave the inputs to and the loans to? Haven't done that, you probably have a list of them. Then the second thing you need to do is there's a need to contact the borrower for payment. How to go about that? You can contact them through the lead farmers. You can contact them through the master farmers. You can contact them through their supervisors. And then another thing you will need to do, you will also need to offer repayment options. Now, where farmers don't really have what to pay, you can't say, oh, let me just go and lock them immediately. That should be your last result, and then that shouldn't even come up. But one of the things you need to do is, okay, you're supposed to bring so number of bags, which translate into so amount. I know there are challenges, so how do we go about it? Okay, let's just can you just pay a certain amount of money weekly, monthly, or into the next season, so that after the next season production, it means he's going to carry out his loan over to next season, because he's actually a good farmer where he can also pay the loan. Then where you see you do all these things and there are challenges, sometimes you can tend to meet their leaders in the community, the village heads, probably their leaders in places of worship. They can also help. Now another thing you need to do is to, when all this fail, you can actually take legal actions. I'm always not comfortable with legal action because it's a continuous thing between. It's not like you just came 1 year and that's going to be the end between you and the farmers. Now a whole lot of legal actions will scare your outgrowers away from you, and that's why it's very, very important to ensure that you do due diligence in picking the farmers, when you are profiling them, when you're taking their informations and then knowing who they are and what they can actually do to ensure that all these things are fine. Then you can also manage your default before it even happened in the program. Clear communication. Tell the farmers what the expectation is, and then tell them and guide them on how to go about doing it. Ensure their planting goes well. Ensure that they apply the right quantity of the inputs given to them. And then in your own part, make sure the inputs given to them are of high standard and of quality, not compromised. So it shouldn't be from the input. And then you also make sure that another thing you need to do to manage default is monitoring and supervision. Ensure thorough and proper monitoring from your field team. Let them visit the field, ensure that they do thorough checks on the field and on the plants, and then report things the way they are. Risk assessment. You need to also conduct thorough risk assessment to identify potential risks that may occur. For example, when you want to go into rainy season farming in Jigawa State, e.g. rice, you should understand that there's definitely Jigawa has a history of flooding. So should there be flood, what do you need to do? You see there's a need for insurance, so that at the end of the day, should that happen, insurance can actually cover the farmers and then the organization again. Flexibility and support. Where your terms and conditions are too high for you to also put the farmers into consideration, because it's not just about the organization, it's also about the farmer. It's supposed to be a win-win. For the organization, you're 100% sure that your raw materials are definitely going to be available. And then for the farmer, is to also know that, yes, through this organization, I can actually have more money. So where you find that the farmers, you can actually make it flexible to support the farmers, so that you can have a very good space to work on. And then enforcement of agreement. Now make sure the terms and agreement reached between you and the farmer are well enforced. Let it sink into the farmer's head. Then you as an organization too, you also need to keep your own part, so that at the end of the day, everybody is happy. And then as time goes on, you sit down, review and evaluate. Okay, we are done with planting. What are the challenges we had in planting? So number of farms are not growing well because we feel the seeds are bad. Okay, are we still within the planting window? Yes, we are. Okay, can we get them more seed? Yeah. Okay, at what rate? Can we give them less than what we gave them initially? Yes. Now these are things you need to look at. Now when you do that, the farmers get encouraged, and then they will also want to stay with you, and then do more with you. And I think this is much, so that I don't take much of our time. Looking at our time, I will just want to say the final thing. One of the major things we need to do is to check the quality and yield issues. Now, one of the major successes in Outgrower program is the yield. If your farmers get a very, very good yield, I assure you the issue of default is out of it. The issue of wanting farmers to sign up is out of it, because farmers will want to come. Why? Because they know that you will guide them through the process from the beginning to the end, and they can actually have physical and live testimonies to tell other farmers. That's where you will see farmers will now start marketing your organization to other people, to other farmers to join. Not because other programs are not good, or not because they can actually not fend for themselves, but because they know working with you. And if we can actually have our farmers get more yield at the end of the day, I assure you an Outgrower program is going to be great. continue, giving farmers input all the time? That's another question. No. Grower concept is supposed to be in such a way that having worked with a group of farmers for a particular period of time, it may be 2 years, 3 years, and they've grown into full potential and they understand what you want and they understand what you need, because you can't fund all of them. What you need to do is there's a winning stage. At this stage, you now say, look, well done. We appreciate working with you for a particular period of time. You can actually support them with inputs and then allow them to go and do it themselves. This they will go and grow more themselves, and then they can probably support other farmers themselves, and then that way they can actually trade those commodities with you. Then you now go in, get new set of farmers, and then you train them again over a period of time. You win them, and that continues. Then it will get to a certain time as an organization or a company that need that product. All you need to do now is to step aside and watch. Now, because of the simultaneous relationship that you've had with them over years and how you've seen them grow into becoming, self-sufficient in their production, and they become expert, you find out that they will want to be trading with you all the time. So look at what is happening in the country now. We have a lot of, meals that need rice, maize, but is not available. But imagine a situation whereby you have, let's say, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 outgrown train in this capacity that are actually producing. I assure you, as an organization, you will not fall out of raw material. Why? Because they will also want to return that favor to you by bringing those raw materials to you, and then you'll find out that production in your company will not stop. Why? Because you've already built a chain of those farmers who you're 100% sure
Hello, Mr. Saidu, it's like we lost you.
Yeah, it's as if we
I think we lost him. So let's wait for him to rejoin. I think we lost him. He will rejoin.
Before you come on, yeah, I know that we can always count on the professionals on our speakers. These are vast people with vast experience. It's a combine of over 30 years of experience in doing this same outgrower management. So you cannot expect less. Mr. Saidu, are you back?
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, welcome back. Hello, Mr. Saidu. So he has covered from farmer selection to farmer screening, also to supervision, to monitoring, to evaluation, to also how to manage default in case there is. So I don't know. I think at this point, Mr. Saidu, are you with us? Okay. So we really want to appreciate your time and the knowledge and the wisdom that you have shared. Honestly, it's much. I believe people will not be able to capture everything you've said, but it's a good thing that we are going to be posting this video on our YouTube. You can always check on our YouTube, Noba Africa. You can also drop pressing topics that you really feel you need to know more about. You can drop it on our platform, maybe Telegram or YouTube, and you are sure that we are going to address it. Like this outgrower program, it was from our previous webinar that somebody dropped the need to address this issue. As you can see, we've done justice to it. But I'm sure that you have to listen to the video 2 or 3 times to really grasp everything that is coming from Mr. Saidu. At this point, I want to call on Mr. Paul Mazat. He's an agri professional with a lot of experience. He's going to guide us on how to tackle challenges and also some real life scenarios that he has come across. Mr. Paul, are you available, sir?
Yeah, I'm available. I'm ready. Good evening,
Right.
everyone. Can everybody hear me? Am I audible enough?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can hear
I
you,
can.
sir.
Good
All right.
evening. We can hear you very well.
Yeah, I
Yes,
want to appreciate.
welcome.
I want to first appreciate Noba Africa for giving me the opportunity to share from my little experience on this platform. Thank you, Najim, for giving us a brief overview of the commodity trading. And also thanks to Ibrahim Saidu, my friend and brother, for giving us an extensive run through of the Algoa project here in Nigeria. Briefly, if I may have your indulgence, I want to walk us through some of the few steps that will help us get it right in this outgoer space in Nigeria. Currently,
We still need a bit
we
volume,
have,
sir.
you said?
Please help us increase the volume a little bit, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Is it better now?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So I said I'll run us through a few steps that I believe can help us get right in the outgrower space in Nigeria. Firstly, I will say we need to go back to having tailored models for the outgrower programs. We need to go back to training and capacity building. We need to look at the outgrower structure itself. From my few years of experience, I've just notice that most times we have a lot of organizations, we have a lot of companies in the outgrower space, we have a lot of business firms in the outgrower space, those that are doing it big, processors like Flour Mills of Nigeria, Olam, that are into the backward integration just to source raw materials, as we've heard from other presenters. The major challenge is that we adopt models, let's say models that work in Kenya, models that worked with Babangona Pharma Services, models that worked with FX Commodities Exchange, and we just want to replicate it. We have to come to a point where we tailor our models based on the value chains, based on the commodities, based on the environment where we want to run the operations. Let me give you an example. We have a model that everybody operates. I believe everybody operates, which was what basically Mr. Ibrahim gave us a breakdown of. But we need to start looking at the technicalities and how we can tailor these models to ensure there is efficiency. Because if you look at the outgoer model, it's not really a high profit margin kind of business. It's more like a social impact kind of business. If you are looking at just your profit margin, then you might not really want to go into outgrower business. But because it's a social impact business that also have little margin to it, people go into it. People have leverage funds from foreign companies, from the government, and then they keep running the business. But we must have our models tailored in such a way that it suits the purpose of what we want to do. And that way, it will ensure efficiency. It will ensure that the cost of operations is managed efficiently, so that we begin to maximize our profit and get the best out of what we want to achieve. For example, the block farming is one model that has not been exploited in this country. I know we have land tenure issues and challenges here and there, but it's something that we can actually look into. For example, the wheat project that FMAN is running, it's actually a project that can suit block farming because it's a dry season project. Even if you have a small land, you still have to go to the Fadama region to do your farm. So if you go to Kano, you can see from Kura, Garumalam down to Ajingi, you will see wide expanse of land. We can have 50 hectares of wheat fields. We can have 70 hectares, 80 hectares, 100 hectares, all in the same place. These are opportunities we can exploit to say, okay, let's come up with a block farming model that will not necessarily require a lot of cost running costs, logistics, moving from one farm to another here and there, just to have these farmers in one particular place, do their operations, and then it creates efficiency and it suits that particular project and that purpose. So first thing we need to do is to have tailored models. We also need to go into capacity building and training. Ibrahim Saidu gave a lot of input as regards that. I will not want to go over it again. We also have to look at the structure. The outgrower structure, it's fairly the same everywhere. You just have companies, you just have, the monitoring, you have the input disbursements, you have the recovery and all that. We have to look at the structure carefully. Can we set up a partnership project, a partnership model where we reduce cost of monitoring and evaluation, and then set up a structure where we have cluster leaders, group leaders that manage these farms. Babangona Farmer Services did an operation model last year, and they had good progress and achievement. They recorded like 99.9 recovery. These are ideas that we need to look at. These are things that we need to look at if we want to make the outgrower structure work in Nigeria. Let me just quickly run because of our time. Let me go to the next point. We need to look at value addition. If you look at the outgrower structure in Nigeria, we just do production, and the only processors, people like Flour Mills of Nigeria, Olam, get these raw materials to actually process and then sell. Most of these companies doing the outgrower projects just focus on production. For us to increase our margins, us to ensure sustainability, we have to start looking at value addition. I know Noba Agric is already working towards that, is already looking towards that. We've had conversations with Najim, and it's a welcome idea. That is the way to go. That is the way we can maximize profit. That is the way we can increase our margins. We have to start looking at value addition, how we can process our sesame to export, how we can process our maize to create more value, how we can process our soybean into the soybean cake, into soybean oil. These are opportunities that are lurking around the outgrower space that we really need to maximize if we want to ensure sustainability. And third, the third point I want to stress is climate smart agriculture, precision agriculture. My colleagues have already mentioned a few points here and there, but we need to move from a mindset of subsistent agriculture, from a mindset of just doing agriculture as a way of life, to implementing technologies that will ensure that we have the yield we are looking out for. Most times, if you look at the surveys, if you do a yield survey from the yields we have, you get to see that our farmers are using varieties that can easily give you a yield potential of 4.5 metric ton, 5 metric ton. But if you look at the yield analysis, they end up getting 2.5 metric ton, 3 metric ton. Why? It's because we don't ensure strict adherence to climate smart agriculture and precision agriculture. When we build the capacity of these farmers to come to a point where they leverage on technologies to ensure that they get the best and the maximum yield possible, then it's good business for everybody. The third point I also want to stress is partnership and collaboration. We need partnership and collaboration on all fronts. This webinar is a welcome idea. We are getting to learn from people working in different organizations and doing different things in this space, but we need that partnership at the highest level. We need that partnership between the government and this private sector to ensure that there is a price control. We need this partnership between organizations to also work hand in hand to ensure that there is stability in the market. If you look at it, we have everybody just doing their thing. My colleague spoke about default. It's a major problem we are having in the outgrower space because of the profit margin, when you have a default of like 2%, 3%, it greatly impacts the business. So how do we collaborate? How do we partner one with another to ensure that we reduce the rate of default? Part of the things that is even causing this high default from farmers is the fact that the space is already saturated. Let's take Kaduna State, for example. You have Olam doing their project, you have Flour Mills doing their project, you have Bobongona Farmer Services, you have Apex Commodities, you have Arziki Noma, you have virtually everybody in that space. And then these farmers are faced with a lot of options. They pick inputs from all these organizations, and then paying back becomes a problem. It's already at that point where I think there is a diminishing returns. But when we partner and collaborate, we place ourselves in a place where we share information, we share data. I know there was a time I was engaging with my friend Ibrahim Saidu. I said we need to, really come up, if possible, set up an organization or a company that is going to go into default recoveries for companies. And part of the things we have to do that is to get information from all organizations. What if we have a platform where everybody, collates data and biodata of farmers that are defaulting? We'll be able to remove those bad eggs from the space, and then everybody will have a good business and a good year. So we need that partnership. We need that collaboration on all fronts, from government to the private sector, to individuals, to networking, sharing ideas, sharing models, and then building this space all together by ourselves. So we need collaboration and we need partnership. And the fifth and last point is going to be the policy support. We actually need policy support from the government. We need rural infrastructures. We need subsidies on inputs. We need market regulations. Market regulations is very, very important. It's super, super important. In this country, we don't have that. And that affects the planning of this outgrower business. You are planning and your risk assessment has price fluctuations in it. You don't know what will happen. You can do your projection saying that maize is going to sell for 40,000, 45,000, and then you come to harvest and maize is selling for 35,000. You can make your projections and say, okay, yes, if maize is selling for 30,000 at harvest, by April, maize should be selling 40,000, and then you have a cash crunch from nowhere, and maize is selling for 12,000. It will impact the business. It will affect the business. It has been affecting the business. We need the government to come in and make sure there are price regulations, there are policies that will ensure that there are no price fluctuations. That way, companies are able to plan, companies are able to build their models, efficiently. Companies are able to look at other areas and focus on other areas, and then it will curb all these issues of hoarding. We produce. I know we don't produce as much as we consume, but some of these issues come because people hoard. At harvest, people buy commodities in large volumes and then they store for future price expectations. But if we have these regulations, it just levels the playing ground, and then everybody is just going to plan and know that, okay, yes, whether I'm selling December or I'm selling in April, I know what the price is going to look like. And then rural infrastructure is very important. When we have roads that are accessible. So I went on a feasibility studies, in Niger State, and then I went into some locations that I just knew that doing business in this particular location is going to be very difficult because they don't even have accessible roads. So what if we want to set up an aggregation point where the community is already at a disadvantage because there are no trucks that can come there to come and buy these commodities at farm gate? So they are left at the mercies of middlemen that will just buy, from them and then get the higher margin. So these are ways in which, if the government is able to come in and support, it will help us in a long way. I believe with these few points, I've not exhausted everything, but I want to stop here. If we can, have all these things put into place, I believe the space will be conducive and convenient for everybody to come and do business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul Mazat. If you want to exhaust your point, I think we might sleep here today, because honestly speaking, when we are trying to cap the whole presentation to a 30-minute to 35-minute presentation, I know it's going to be a tough one, because if you look at the way speakers have spoke, you can really see that they've condensed their points so that time will not be too much spent. If not, every speaker could have been a speaker to a presentation per day. But with this point, I think we've covered pretty much everything around Outgrower. We've talked about the reason why we are having Outgrower program itself. Then Saidu have taken us through the processes, the policies that you can put in place so that you can have a successful Outgrower program. And also Paul Mazat has already given us the guidance, getting it right, how you can steer at the higher level, what you need to look at. You talked about integration of Outgrower model for you to make better profit. When you are buying from farmers, should you add more value? Should you look at other markets of export and all that so that you can generate more profit? Because you have to look at those things to increase your profit margin. I will always see Outgrower program is a high risk, low return business, which is not a very good business at all. But looking at what Paul Mazat has said, it gives a very good sustainability planning. So if you can add or integrate it to other business side, it's going to really help a lot. And policies that can also, he also brought about policies that can help us achieve better results. And also he spoke about data, just like we have in banks. When you go to take a loan from a bank, you're already registered in CRC, whether you like it or not. Every bank know that you have loan with this. Can we have that kind of system so that we can know the bad eggs that are spoiling the Outgrower program? Because personally, I feel it's a very good program that can boost the agric industry. So having said that, I will not want to take much of your time. You can always go to our YouTube channel to have a rewatch of this webinar and other webinars that we've had before then. And I would also like to let everyone know what Noba does. We are a commodity trading firm, and our major crops still remain paddy, rice, sesame, soybean, and shea nuts. We are always active throughout the year, and we are seeking more investors. If you want to join, if you want to collaborate or partner with the company, you can reach out to throughout this platform or through our WhatsApp. You can also give us a call on 09069621465. The opportunities are there for you to grab. We've been investing for people for over 5 years, and we are doing fine. You can ask anybody. You can fact check us. We've never defaulted, not even by a day. And the investment opportunities are there on the screen. Minimum investment of ₦1 million, then the returns are between 18 to 24%. These are consistent returns. Because I always say, when you are looking at investing, always look at the safety of your funds, not your return. Because if somebody is giving you 200% and at the end of the day he loses your money, that is 300% loss for you. So if there's anybody with any topic that is concerning, you can always drop it on our channels. I will also advise you to subscribe to our YouTube channels and our other channels so that you can always see our activities. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions? Is there any question or any observation or recommendation? We are here to listen. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you very much. If I have the floor, can I make a recommendation?
Please go ahead.
Okay. For the convener, you made mention of going
Your
to
name,
the.
please, and where you are talking from, please. Thank you.
My name is Yusuf Dabo. I'm talking from Kano.
Welcome. You can proceed.
Thank you. Just a recommendation. If presenters can leave us with some kind of maybe a PowerPoint presentation, something we can go through rather than going to the YouTube channel, and some of us will prefer a hardbound document. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Noted. Thank you. So,
Hello. Hello. May I have the floor, please? I want to ask a question.
okay, go ahead. Your name, please.
My name is Onen Ifere. I'm calling you from Lagos. I
Go ahead.
enjoyed the webinar. I think I will be consistent with it. Everything was well understood. My question will go to the price regulation in terms of pricing or keeping the prices steady, or whether you are going to have a platform to regulate prices, which is key. Now, if that is going to take place, number one, you discover that in Nigeria, I'm just saying in the part of country that I am right now, which is Lagos, if you go to the farm to buy some stuff like commodities, before you pass some state checkpoints, you discover that you are paying much money to either security agencies, and that will also come on the product. If you are going to sell the product, it's going to have a different toll on the prices that you are going to sell out in order for you to recover your money. So there's a whole lot to be done in order for us to regulate prices, because those prices are actually one of the reasons. If I want to kind of sell out a product, sometimes I just go to some website to get prices, and they will be bargain up and down just like that before you sell out the product. Outside, I'm talking about internationally, not within the country. Even within the country, in the local markets, it's still the same thing. That is my point I want to raise, and also the aspect of concerns with the security aspect to the farmers. That is what I didn't hear anybody talk about it. That's why I say I should just bring it up. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Let the CEO of Abdulrazak Najim answer this question, and we move to the next question. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Onen, thank you. Thanks for being on the line. I really appreciate that you took out time to be on the line, considering your busy schedule. Okay, looking at price control. Price control, I think we used to have price control in Nigeria. There's a price board in Nigeria before, I think, during Babangida's time. So, but since then, Nigeria has been declared a free trade zone. So, for now, no price is being controlled. You, as a marketer, you have the right to choose your price. You can fix your price. You can sell for any amount you feel like. And if there's going to be any price control, that will be coming from the government. So it's not a dating. It's not something that a president will just wake up today that, okay, I want price to be controlled. There are a lot of things that he has to put on ground. In fact, when we are talking of price control, it comes with a whole lot of subsidies. So I think the government is still brainstorming on it. I don't know what they are going to come up with, and unfortunately, I am just stick to my business. I'm not really into the government, so I have only public information with myself. I know the president is looking at doing one or two things around price control, but I think it's gonna be a tough one. But let's see what will happen. So we can only expect and see what will happen. But I really doubt if that will work, because it has its own rules also. Then when you talk of security is one of the reasons why prices are skyrocketing. Over 30% of farmlands out there are not active because of attacks from bandits and the likes. So when it comes to our grower program, these are part of the things that you do. If you just like Saidu said, when you enter a community for farmers mobilization and screening, you have to do assessment of that location. You have to look at, okay, what have they been planting? What program have been happening? What is the situation of that locality? So if you will see that it's a locality that is prone to banditry or insecurity, you definitely have to leave, because you are sure that there's going to be high rate of default. People could what bandits, like for example in Zamfara now, or is it Zamfara or Katsina? There's a village that in the beginning of the farming season, they have to go and take 6 million naira to the bandits. They know where they are. They will take the 6 million naira before they can plant. And when they want to harvest, they will still take another 6 million naira to them before they can harvest. You see, this has some it has a different ways of affecting the farmers. Number one, it makes their produce very expensive. So the buyback price that we are giving them might not be favorable to them because they've really spent a whole lot. They've spent like 12 million without buying fertilizer or anything. So it might be difficult for you to get your recovery there. Then secondly, what if they could not afford the second tranche of payment and everybody has to leave the village? Or what if the bandits change their strategy and drive everybody away? There are some villages that are just lying fallow there. So it's always what Saidu captured is very important. You have to do your assessment of that location. What's the security situation of that location? If it's prone to security challenges, it's better you don't do any program right there. And I'm deeply ashamed that for about 12 years we are still battling with insecurity, and this is really it's really threatening our food security in Nigeria. So I hope that addresses your points to some extent, Mr. Onen. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Before we move to the next question, let me quickly answer the first question about getting document on this as grower management. So we'll work on it. The team will work on it, and you are assured that you will get the PDF of this the whole thing. So that being answered. So who else have one or two things to say before we round up?
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Your name and which location, thanks.
Thank you. My name is Alani Mohammed. I'm speaking from Makwadi, Benue State. My question goes this way. During the conversation and the analysis so far, I expect something to be thought of, which is what I thought in my own mind. The issue of fortification, product fortifications, I believe that really affects some of the productivity, which I believe should be probably discussed or enlighten us more as regard that the effects and the importance. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Am I on, please?
Yeah, before we move to the next question, please can we to all the speakers can we get answer for this before we move on?
Mr. Saidu, Mr. Mazat, are you willing to take the question or should I address it?
You can address it, sir, because of the time.
Thanks for being on the call. I hope Makodi is doing fine. Okay, so
thank God. Thank you.
So what we just try to do this night is to give a concise, comprehensive, and overview of the Outgrower program. So when we look at fortification, we start looking at some specific crops. For example, generally, the Outgrower program, we have what we call high value, low volume crops. So those are the crops that come with licensing, fortification, and the likes. Then we have high volume, low value crops. So these are a deep dive into Outgrower program, but I think this webinar is a bit young for that. So if there is a need for a season 2 of this webinar, we can get to know that from what people ask on our platforms, and we can readdress it. But for now, webinar is a bit young to address things like fortification and certification. I really appreciate that point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to also add to that, food fortification has to also address a particular problem. Maybe it's because for it's more like adding nutrients to certain commodities that don't really have to meet up a particular problem. So maybe let's say there's a particular situation or there's a particular location where they are lacking in some nutrients, and then what is the easiest, the fast, and the best way you can actually help out to push for that kind of nutrient? then fortification will come into play. But I doubt if we really do that now because, I don't think we really have those issues now. But like Najib rightly mentioned, maybe subsequently we can talk more on that, see the advantages and then the disadvantages. And then you should also be rest assured that where there is, such fortifications, definitely it will hit on the price because there's addition you're doing, X what you had before. Definitely it will also have a very, very, advanced impact on the, pricing. Thank you.
Please, can I come in now?
All right, thank you, sir. So, because of the time, we have two more questions to take. So,
Yes.
the next person should please just come up.
Good evening. I'm Abakar calling from Abuja.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Please. Okay. My area of concern is outgrowers management or program. My own organization, I've been managing it for more than 5 years. Though I'm getting more enlightened every day with this webinar. I think, although I've not had any shortage for the past 6 years I've been doing it, maybe it's because it's my locality I used to arrange them. I have just 15 communities I deal with. And I deal with only super soya beans, since I give them a super grow to support their productivity. I have not had any loss. The only challenge I have from there is when I call after the whole collection at the end of the harvest. It things that you put in much money, you expected to take it to a direct company and cash in your money once, but I don't have that opportunity. Sometimes you have to spread it to about 10 different markets just to get the money back. That will take a lot of time. That is the only challenge. Sometimes I can get up to 400, but I knew I don't have any challenge of either defaulter or whatsoever. But the only challenge is sometimes you may even advertise online. Nobody responds. So you have to take it to the same local market, which you don't want the farmer to face. And at the end of the day, you still carry the cross. So that is my challenge. Now that I'm part of Noba Africa now, I want to know how the organization can support me, or how can I do, or is it I should take my organization to represent Noba Africa in that my locality, since they are very good in soya beans. And I know if I can extend my capacity, I can still even have more than 500 bags in every season. So that is what I just want to pick out in this meeting today.
Thank you, Mr. Abubakar. Okay, two things. Like Paul said, when you look at the outgrower program, you have to look at a way of integrating it so that you can make better profits. So you have to look at better markets to see ways that you can make a sale. And I can assure you, 400, 4,000, 40,000 bags, there is not a challenge in this market at all. Even if you are doing 400,000 bags, there's market for it. And it's one of the reasons why we are trying to create this little community, so that you can know that you are not alone. You have people that are together with you. But also mark you, we are in the commodity space, and commodity, as is said, is not a highly specified product. So you have a very limited price range. You understand? So when you shoot a bit, even if it's by 1 or 2 naira per kg above the standard price, people will leave the commodity for you. So that could also be a challenge. But I can assure you, if your prices are fair and in tandem with the market prices, even if you have 400,000 bags, it's not going to be a hard sell. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
Najib, to also add to that, please, if you will allow me. Now,
Yeah.
it's good to know that you can actually produce up to 400 to 500 bags, which is very, very good. And I think one other thing you will do, just like Najib rightly mentioned, while you're also having an outgoers, you should also pay attention to, market. Now, there are
Huh?
companies that actually go. So can you hear me, please?
Uh, it was cracking. Please,
Hello, can you
because
hear
I need
me?
to get the point here.
Yeah, it's cracking, but we can hear you.
How
I
about,
can
can
hear
you
you
hear
now.
me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I
I
it's
can
said
hear
clear.
one
you.
of the things you will need to do also is to look out for companies that are also into trading. I know Najib also has some understanding, and then some, companies that do that trading. He can help out, and you can also do a check on. FX commodity exchange. You can also do a
Okay.
check on a, FMN where you have challenges. Let's also know we can connect you. You can be registered as one of the vendors. And then as the company is actually releasing their prices, you can also get that price and then you deliver directly to the company. And then
Okay.
where they also know that you have a lot of farmers and you have capacity, since you are not far away from Benue, we can also link you up with, maybe let's just talk maybe after this. Let's see how I can hook you up where you can
Thank
also
you very
have a
much.
very good price, because so that when you know that you already have the market, I know it will, gladden your heart to, get more outgrowers that can, produce more for you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I will also want to step in. Like I rightly said, we need to collaborate and we need partnership. And part of it is also networking. Like Ibrahim rightly said, we can always link you up to markets. If you are sure
Okay.
of having, soybean at the end of the season, all you need to let us know is, okay, I'm expecting 400 bags, I'm expecting 1,000 bags at harvest, and we'll be able to link you up with markets that will offtake immediately. In fact, at the
Okay.
moment you started speaking, I was like, this is the right platform, you are in the right space. Just
Okay.
drop your contact information with Noba. We'll reach out to you. We'll talk and know what it is that you are expecting at harvest, and then we'll link
Okay.
you up with the market. That one is not an issue.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And I think we can call it today now. Those that still have one or two things to ask, I think we can drop it in the group chat, and you will definitely attend to. So as we draw the curtains on this enlightening webinar journey, I am genuinely grateful for the collective spirit of curiosity and engagement that has filled this virtual space. So today we really delved into the intricacies of commodity trading, explore the fertile concept of origination, unravel the nuances of grower management, gain valuable insights on getting it right. Our speakers, Mr. Najim, Mr. Saidu, Paul Mazat, have really shown the seed of wisdom. So they share their expertise and their experiences in the fast field of agriculture. We can say each topic has been a stepping stone. So they're guiding us towards a deeper understanding of the agricultural landscape and the opportunities it holds. So Noba Africa stands not just as an agribusiness entity, but as a beacon of opportunity where agriculture meets innovation and prosperity. So we are committed to fostering sustainable practices, driving positive change, and great avenues for fruitful investment. So we really appreciate you all tonight. Your questions and active participation have really enriched our discussion. Remember, the journey does not end here tonight. It's a continuous exploration, Should queries arise or insights linger, our commitment to your understanding and success persists. So as we part ways, carry with you the seed of opportunity planted during this webinar tonight. Nurture them, let them grow, and consider Noba not just as a business venture, but as a partner in your agricultural aspiration. So on behalf of Noba Africa, our esteemed speakers, and the entire team, I extend heartfelt gratitude for your presence, your eagerness to learn and contribute to this cause is the driving force that propels us towards. So remember the field of opportunity first, and Noble Africa is here to help you cultivate success. Until our path cross again, may your endeavors read abundant fruit, and may every seed you sow flourish. Thank you, and still invested in possibilities. Thank you so much. My name is Gudele Moses, Marketing Executive, Noba Africa. Thank you so much.